Hey everyone, it's Sonia from Profiling Manipulation. So I put a poll on my community post asking, shall I do a reaction to this latest catastrophe in the what is now the broken, dissolved and completely vacant DC community, with Diane getting on panel with Molly Golightly. All right, so I'll give you a brief rundown. So how was it a year ago? It doesn't feel like 2 years ago. Anyway, yeah, it was 2 years ago, right? So 2 years ago, Diane was asked to show receipts, all right? There was a girl, Corey, that wanted Diane to see the receipt, to show the receipts, right? And we did have a couple of conversations about that, and I agreed, yes, you did. And I can remember 2 years prior to that, I think it was, when Tucker got exposed, trying to tell people that they're falling for the same mask they did with Tucker with Diane, all right? Covert narcissist, and they're called covert because they can remain hidden perfectly well. They can fly under people's radars, and it takes people, in some cases, decades to figure them out. That's how good they are. That's how good the manipulation is. Most people can't believe it until they've seen it for themselves, all right? So Tucker was a good lesson in that. Somebody being covertly narcissistic and presenting it as a sweet, endearing little old man trying to raise money for A, B and C. So anyway, no one listened to any of my tweets because everyone was hardcore Diane at that time. She'd built up her credibility and her reputation and positioned herself on this pedestal and had people constantly looking up to her as though she was some kind of demigod. So Corey starts off this campaign of wanting to see the receipts. I agreed with her. I thought the same, because even though I wanted to think she was honest and felt bad, you still need to show the receipts, all right? We've had one fraud. You promised at the beginning that you'd always show the receipts. And I can remember a time when you were showing one and I'd gone to your community post because I'd asked someone about it. And this was before my tweets, which was pre-Corey, 2 years ago. And someone had said, oh, she's put it on a community page. But by the time I got to your community page, you'd taken it down, right? That's the only one I believe that was ever shown. And I obviously don't know what was on it because I got there too late. So anyway, Corey starts off this campaign of wanting to see the receipts. And somewhere within that, more people got on side. I can remember tweeting about it, saying, just because you all say she's crazy doesn't mean she's wrong about the receipts and stuff like that. You really need to start looking into it further yourself. And I can remember typing those tweets. So anyway, people did go over there and did start paying attention. Not necessarily just because of me, but the ones on my Twitter who I were talking to, possibly. So anyway, the story takes off, and then I start noticing this Tiffany Marie girl starts hanging around Corey's comment section, and I was a friend of Corey, so I was always in her comment section. So I noticed her coming over, loved bombing Corey, and then away that went. They seemed to get really close, and that was that. So I just like kind of went back to the sidelines and just do what I just normally do, which is just pop in and pop out. That's it. So it continued with this showing the receipts, and a few other bigger channels joined the battle of trying to get Diane to show the receipts. Her arrogance proceeds a well. She refused point blank to show these receipts, and she had the whole team behind her saying that she didn't need to show them. She would have like these taunting streams where she'd be telling people those kids hate St. Jude, they hate sick children. People would be writing it on these super chats. It was absolutely disgusting, right? So they'd be going after one person. I know Corey was one, and I know Tiffany was one, and she would make bank because she's got like a really good manipulation tactic. It's similar to Tucker's. I think she gleaned a few things from Tucker personally. She had a way of rallying people up into an emotional state about how terrible somebody was, okay? So they'd all be there saying, wow, I can't believe that person did that to you. Wow, they're a fucking bitch. Wow, fucking wow. Yeah, you call her out. You fucking call her out. You stick up for yourself, right? And then they'd be in that state, and then they'd super chat, and then somebody would see a super chat, and it inspires other people to do the same things, like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking send one, fuck that bitch, we love you, Diane, we love you. So she had this manipulative what would you call it, this manipulative tactic that she was very good at. She's very good at stirring people up to see things the way that she sees them. So anyway, fast forward, it gets bigger and bigger. And then in my videos, I can remember saying, I can't believe what I'm seeing with my own eyes, because you had Molly, Tiffany, who was the other person leading that? Was it Mallory? What was it? There was somebody else, and I remember saying in one of my videos, you've got a team of narcissists now that have grouped together to take Diane down. So there's like a bloody trio of narcissists, right? And then there's Diane the narcissist. So whoever wins, this is not going to be good. Whoever comes out successful, I remember saying this, and I remember saying it to people, it's not going to be good, because both, even though the narcissists are fighting for good for this thing, it's not for the right reasons. They're going to use it to their own advantage, profit from it, and it's all for self-gain. It's nothing about calling Diane out. It's for their own egos, right? And they had every right to have an issue with Diane, because she'd done those streams to those people, okay? And you don't fuck with narcissistic people like that, because they don't take shit lying down. They always come back and posture and have to do one better, do one worse, or go further than you did and really fuck your life up, because they don't have anything to lose. Even if they have families and jobs, in their minds, they have nothing to lose. They are reckless and ruthless. So I stepped back and I was observing it more from a behavioural point of view, noticing all the behaviours, and more people getting drawn into this thing. People started going into Diane's real life. It was fucking horrendous. It was just sick, right? There was I know it's over with now, and people have made their, you know, apologies and acknowledged and been accountable for whatever. But at the time, I can remember Kay Smalls had this woman on a channel. They were doxing the fuck out of her, swearing it was Diane. It wasn't freaking Diane. Then a woman had to come here herself, because they were reaching in her real life, and she had to come here and say, even though my name's the same as Diane, I am not the Diane that you want. It was just disgusting. Everybody, but narcissistic people don't keep boundaries. So that's why I said they were bad to be on the team in the first place, and that's why it went the way it did, because you got narcissistic people leading the way and inciting people, manipulating them to go along with it, and convincing them that they're doing this for the right reasons, when they weren't doing it for the right reasons. They weren't doing it for the right reasons. They were doing it because they did personally want to take Diane down, whereas the goal from the beginning from Corey, and what I was wanting, was her to just simply show the receipts, all right? In her, like, because of her attitude and her denial and her refusal to just be human and have some empathy and be able to have like a normal conversation about it, because she couldn't even have a normal conversation about it, you see. Anytime anyone would say, Diane, do you not think you need to show, it's my money, stop asking me, you have no right to ask me anything. Who do you think you are? Did you donate? Did you give me any money? No. Well, shut up and go on your way, right? So that's part of why the other side kept going even further, because she was so adamant that she wasn't going to show him. Okay, if this had just been with a which they should have known then, you're dealing with a narcissistic individual, all right? She's above everybody else. She doesn't have to follow the same rules as everybody else. Meanwhile, she demands receipts of every single person, evidence for everything. But in her own case, you're just supposed to trust me because I'm called Diane. Whatever. So, well, and here we are. So all that happened 2 years ago. She disappeared for about a year. And then she's been coming back every so often. What are we in now? 2022? When would it have been? Earlier this year, possibly. She started showing up a bit more, having a few more streams, and she's still got some, like, people that, well, I don't even know what, okay, because I don't know how you can know that this woman took your money and she used it for herself, but told you while she was sending it to a hospital. If you want to get right down to the nitty gritty and be completely specific, right? St. Jude weren't expecting that money, right? They didn't know they were going to be getting it. So you scammed the community. But all in all, you scammed us using a hospital. You used that hospital to scam people, period. So she comes back earlier this year, and it was weird because Wendy and Randi started going along with some of the things she was saying, and she was presenting it as though Randi had said that she didn't just send the money to St. Jude, she sent it to several other hospitals. Diane, I wish you'd just show them. I know you get mad, but I wish you'd just show them. And I am convinced that Diana showed Randi fake evidence, and that's why she won't show it, because often people do that. They will show somebody that they know that's easy to manipulate and convince, which Randi is, point blank, right? And I have a feeling she's shown Randi something, but it was fake. And that's why Randi's so convinced that this woman is who she says she is, when she isn't. She isn't at all. She isn't at all. She's not authentic. She's not a woman of her word. She's none of those things. So Molly was one of the drivers of all that hostility towards Diane, reaching into her real life and things like that. She had loads of people over there watching her. She's coming out with all sorts. So now, 2 years later, she has, I don't know, to me, it was almost like Wendy was in some kind of trance, because there's a point somewhere where they're all on panel and it's being referenced. And Wendy, or it was just Wendy and Randi, actually. It could have been just Wendy and Randi. And I can hear Wendy starting to go along with the same ideas that Randi has about this money, right? And saying for the whole last year, she wasn't saying it was for St. Jude. Well, that's just bullshit, because that Tiffany stream where she raised $1,800 and kept it, that was in that last year. And people were writing on those super chats, "We love St. Jude," right? And some of them were saying, "This is for you. Stick it, to stick it to Tiffany, to piss Tiffany off." So anyway, right? Now things have settled down. Diane's channel is struggling. Like she's getting good views. Well, 2K, 3K views, 4K views on some of them. See, so I don't think they're bad views, because, well, I don't get that many views. But in comparison to what she used to get, they're down. All right, they're a lot down to what they used to be. So, because she'd often have 10K views under her videos with 7K subscribers. So there's not that much interest now there going over there. So a few people obviously do, because she still gets decent views for sure. So, but in some way, right, Diane, you can tell Diane wants back what she had. She wants all of the people putting her on a pedestal, and she wants back that control she once had, where she could just demand things, say things, and when God said light, there was light, pretty much. She snaps her fingers and people jump. I mean, there was always a queue of people wanting to love on Diane, help Diane, accommodate Diane. Like, that is how she had the community eating out of the palm of her hand. And if the manipulation's good, you won't see it. And her manipulation is exceptional, all right? Because there's still people even now that don't see it. Even now that don't see it. And like I've said before, you can't reach people once they're under the manipulation. And this is proof, or it has been proof the whole time. Once somebody is under the manipulation, it's hard to reach them. Simply telling them you're being manipulated, they don't believe you. They always believe the one that's doing the manipulating. So anyway, things have come to a head. Diane's channel is pretty much, it's kind of like floundering. It's kind of like treading water, I guess. And it doesn't matter what she does, she can't generate that same energy that she once had, because people now see her as a scammer. She hates that word. She goes fucking bonkers if you say that word. We'll just show the receipts if you're not a scammer, okay? It's pretty simple. If you're not a scammer, then show the receipts. It doesn't matter where the money went, just show the receipts. 10 here, 5 there, 4 there, 3 there, 2 there, 1 there, 9 there, 6 there, whatever. Show the whole receipt. She doesn't have them. I don't know how Randi, I really don't sometimes. I just think, oh, you stupid. Like, how much gaslighting are you going to allow to go on? This woman did not donate as much as she said she did to St. Jude. And I don't care what she's shown you. She hasn't shown it the people that donated to her, that gave to her, that decided they wanted to super chat her, because she goes bonkers at the donate word, right? So anyway, now, right, we have a new situation. So way back when people started picking on Don Wells, there was a little girl that went missing on the 15th of June last year called Summer Wells. And unfortunately, her family do seem very dysfunctional, and this caused a whole load of drama and chaos on YouTube, with people vilifying the family, being cruel to them, abusive, getting them on the channels, interviewing them, releasing their private DMs of the conversations that they'd had with these creators. So all this stuff starts happening, okay? And this poor girl's missing in the middle of it, and like a new, what would you call it? Like a new era started to arise out of the dust of the broken DC community. So these certain creators rose up and decided they were going to use tragedy and pimp it out to the public and earn money while doing it, okay? But while they were doing it, they were going to be being abusive and cruel to families that are going through the worst time of their fucking lives ever, okay, by having a child disappear. Now, and there's a million coincidences that can occur, and they simply be coincidences, okay? But this trauma community, if they catch a coincidence, they lose their minds and assume it means something, and just like make rabbit holes out of rabbit holes, all right? They destroyed every inch of any kind of reputation for the Wells family. Those sons, Summer's three brothers, will have to see that when they grow up, throughout their whole lives. Now they will have to carry the baggage of the shit that people did to their parents while their little sister was missing. Even in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, it's out there now, the way that their family was treated, all right? And in the midst of that, Molly was one of the original tragedy pimps. She went after the Cash Gernon family. She humiliated and screamed at the grandma of Cash Gernon. She ridiculed and taunted the girlfriend that was looking at where Cash was staying. He was with his dad's girlfriend, Monica. She had a son, Cameron. His reputation was completely destroyed. They were driving past, throwing stuff, shouting stuff at them, recording it, live streaming as they're driving past this property. It's just fucking disgusting, all right? I mean, there's a baby dead, and these lot are pissing about in drama and causing chaos and adding to the stress and the pain that these people are going through. And I don't care whether they look dysfunctional or whether they look a bit rough or whether they're poor, whether they're upper class, lower class, middle class. I don't care, right? When you're dealing with human beings, be human. And these lot are not human. So up rises Molly out of the dust of the dead DC. Tiffany joins her. And along the way, several others. Laura, Mallory, there's Justin. There's a few of them, tragedy pimps, they're called. Now, there's a huge issue with the way they treat these families with missing children. They're obnoxious, they're abusive, they're intimidating, they are demented, and they all have the same thing in common. They're all narcissistic as fuck. You can't tell none of them nothing. They know better. You can't have a conversation. Destruction and toxicity is all they dish out. You will never see them anywhere being healthy, being caring, being kind. Like, all the energy it took them, they could have provided the meals for all the police officers searching for baby Quinton when they turned up at Lilani Simon's house, all right? They could have got together with all the people that send them super chat and sent the money, got the location, because they were sending the tragedy pimps coffee, cake, pot roast, hot meals, sandwiches, cake, all kinds of stuff. Were these subscribers sending items to the people that were outside these properties? So they could have sent pizzas or food to the police officers searching the landfill. They could have done the same in the Michael Monkey Vaughan case, where they're searching this house and digging up this garden. They could have come together and got people to, I don't know, donate, and called around a few local restaurants or takeouts and sorted something out to make sure that those police officers, and they were getting a hot meal and it weren't coming out of their own pocket for the painstaking work they were doing and looking for the remains of a baby. God, it pisses me off. So anyway, these people are horrendous, horrific. They are terrible people, the things that they do. They believe they're all heroes and they're our saviours. They believe, that's what they believe in their mind. You can't convince a narcissistic person of anything otherwise, right? None of them are humble or modest. It's all over the top, histrionic, in your face, intimidating, abusive language, verbal aggression, all of that shit. So these are the types of the people, right, that they are. And Diane, out of nowhere with her dying channel, this is how it all ties together. Sorry for the long story, right? So Diane decides, okay, I think Molly should give me an apology for everything she put me through with the St. Jude scandal, right? Now, any other healthy person would want that to die. Well, you couldn't be healthy to steal anyway, but whatever. I'm just contradicting myself. But any normal person would just leave it to die, and they certainly wouldn't want anything off Molly Golightly. Okay, now I'm not talking about my feelings on her, like how I genuinely feel on her. I'm just like making these points. So she now wants to bring up the whole St. Jude thing after running around like a psychopath, okay? Like a psychopath. No, I'm not qualified, but I'm going to say anyway. Like a psychopath, Diane has been running around. Anytime anyone types scammer, she'll freak out, go nuts, right? And just completely have a meltdown. That's kind of died off a bit the last few weeks, all right? It's died off. But no. Narcissists don't like peaceful, right? They like chaos, confusion, and drama. That's what narcissistic people like. That's why they always seek it out. That's why you always find them in places where there's a lot of drama, because it's like a beacon. It's like, hey, come over here, and they love it. All right, they need it like we need air to breathe, because they can't. Do you know, like inside our bodies, we can emotionally regulate ourselves. If we're feeling a bit fed up, we can say, "Come on, Sonia, like just snap out of it. Get up, get dressed, and go to the shop. Get what you need, and then you can come back, sit down." Do A, B, and C, and blah blah blah. Like, or if I was feeling really upset about something, I can say, "Oh God, I better sort myself out. The girls are going to be home soon. I don't want them seeing me upset." Right? So we have the ability to emotionally regulate ourselves. If, say, one of our kids did something and it was really, really bad, really naughty or something, and I was saying, "I can't believe you did that, but why did you do it? Right? Why would you do that?" I can regulate myself so that I'm staying calm but firm, and they know I'm angry or annoyed or not impressed or not happy, right? So we can emotionally regulate ourselves. And if I was to get mad at something, say like if I was in the worst bad mood of my life, time of the month, my whole day's going wrong, I've woke up late, got the kids off to school late, just say everything that you can think of that can go wrong's gone wrong, right? So I'm in a bad mood and my kids come walking in at, after school time, I have the ability to say to myself, right, son, you've been in a bad mood all day. The kids are about to come in. You better sort yourself out. Put a smile on your face. Start getting the snacks ready. I don't want my kids coming home to a house with an atmosphere. So we can do those things, emotionally regulate ourselves. Narcissistic people cannot do that. They don't have the ability to do that. To emotionally regulate, they need a lot of shouting and fighting and chaos and confusion and attention and drama and something to feed off, right? Because they feed off the energy. And you'll always notice, say like with Bullhorn Betty after she's covered a case, right? Or when she's covering a case, even though she's like ranting into the camera, and we've been here 12 days and Chatham County Police have never turned up and they've not done this and they've not done that. When she goes on them spiels, right? She is as high as a motherfucker when she's doing that. When they're doing all that kind of stuff, ranting and raging and screaming, they feel what we feel when we feel pleasure. So think about the things that inspire you to feel pleasure. Well, obviously, sex gives pleasure. Sitting in a warm, relaxing bath is pleasurable. Having a massage feels pleasurable. Maybe gambling, you get a pleasure from doing it. It's like when you make a purchase and you get that rush, right? That's the rush I'm trying to direct you towards. That rush that they get from the drama is like that rush we get when we buy something, right? But they can't maintain that high all the time. So think about it. If I've used that credit card 10 times in one day, the rush is going to get less and less each time, right? I'm not going to be able to, it's not going to be as good as it was the first time, okay? So then they'll be like, shit. So if you're a narcissist, you still need to feel that way, because otherwise you just feel flat, dank, depressed, like you just want to die, basically. So they seek other ways to feel that rush that we would get when we made a really expensive purchase for something that we'd really wanted for a very long time. That rush, that thrill. When you give your card and you pay for it, you're like, it's mine. I paid for it. So drama does that for them. Drama emotionally regulates narcissistic people, toxic people, because there's always an energy going on that they can tune into and feed off, okay? So like when people are crying hysterically or angry and screaming and shouting, or like you'll notice it's never round happy, calm, like normal streams where people are just talking and it's slow and how are you? Did you have a good day? Yeah, oh my God, at the weekend I'm going to a wedding. Yeah, they got engaged a couple of years. They're not interested in all that shit. They're like, they're fighting, okay? So you'll never see them in streams like that. They'll always be telling you something that's outrageous, or it has to be funny, or they can't just be. I think that's it. They can't just be. So, with Diane's dying channel, and Molly now the champion of the tragedy pimps, Diane wants an apology. So, which is weird because for the last few weeks, Molly's kept bringing Diane up. So I already had my suspicions. They're fucking speaking behind the scenes and I cannot believe it. Why the fuck would you speak to her after everything she does to these families? It's outrageous. But why would I expect better from somebody that I believe is narcissistic AF? But anyway, so she gets her on panel. And even though I've been talking for like nearly half an hour, I hope it's good stuff that I'm filling your head with. And some of this is actually bloody like of some use. So come to the present day, Diane, I want an apology of Molly, all right? And I want everybody to see her apologise to me on this panel, because this is going to attain and maintain and bring me back to the position I was before all these scumbags started calling me a scammer. That's Diane's head, all right? Because if Molly comes on the panel, okay, in Diane's gullible mind, because all narcissists are gullible, okay? Except for the high IQ ones, they've got they have a level of self-awareness. Diane doesn't have that gift. She doesn't have self-awareness, okay? Her IQ's not high enough. So Diane's gullible as fuck, all right? Like, and when I say gullible, I mean that you can do something horrible to her and say sorry, right? And she just let it go, all right? She let it go, because you just be like, that's another person I've got under my belt. She'd see it that way. She wouldn't see it as this person's possibly using me. She's just gullible as fuck, all right? So she thinks that if Molly gets on this panel and announces to the whole community that isn't even going to listen or watch it, that Diane, that she's sorry for what she did to Diane. She shouldn't have done it, right? We're all going to go back to believing that all the money went to St. Jude, even though no receipts were shown. This is the theatrics that this woman's trying to pull off, okay? Now, do you know what? Spielberg couldn't pull this off, all right? It would be impossible. No one could pull this off. You know why, Diane? You know why? Because it's bullshit. That's why, all right? We all learn, or we should do, by our 30s. Typically, we learn in our 30s. Some are more intelligent, and they may learn it in their 20s. Mine have learnt it in their teenage years, okay? You don't ever need closure of somebody else, ever, all right? So, you know, like when you've had a really bad split with a boyfriend and they're probably a narcissistic individual because they've done nothing but abuse you, ghost you, treat you like shit, cheat on you, do all these things that narcissists do, and then they just disappear. They do that disappearing on purpose because they know Normal, healthy human beings like to have closure, right? But closure, unbeknown to healthy human beings, is something that we're actually in control of. We write the closure, okay? So if that was a horrible person, we don't need them to come back and say, I didn't mean to hurt you, I'm sorry if it hurt you, you can go on and move on with the rest of your life, right? That's like delusional, because it's just an abusive person, manipulative person that's abused you the whole time. They're lying to you anyway, okay? So they wouldn't ever give you closure, because it would be a lie. Closure would be this: nobody else is going to treat me that way. The way he feels about me is how he treated me, and he was abusive. So no more, you cut off. That would be closure, right? If it's friends breaking up out of nowhere, like I've had, and I'm going to get onto triangulation in this in a minute, but say like if you've had somebody that just stopped speaking to you, right? Me, I would want to know what I did so I could apologise, but this community isn't like that. If you text people, if you message people, you're up to something. If you like, everybody's so highly suspicious, so it's hard to have any kind of parasocial or any kind of friendship or relationship on there, all right? It's just difficult because it's all writing, and writing can be confusing, and miscommunication can happen. So, but anyway, the point is, you write your own closure. And me, definitely at 43, I have learned I don't ever put that in the hands of somebody else, all right? You don't ever keep me wondering, because believe you me, I write the ending. I am in charge of the closure. Me, all right? Me. So for Diane, who's in her 60s, to suddenly announce she needs closure from not Molly, who's see, I would say she's histrionic, okay? I don't have no white coat on, and I don't have a stethoscope. Can't even speak. But I would say she's histrionic. She demonstrates all the traits of a histrionic personality disorder to me personally, all right? And a histrionic is a narcissist, okay? They are sociopathic. Anyway, Diane wants from this person an apology and closure, okay? Now, if we know that Diane's narcissistic, and we know that Molly's narcissistic, and we know that narcissists tell on themselves and do the opposite, or mean the opposite of what they're saying, right? Then we can conclude from this that this is about something else. It's nothing about closure. She's trying to mirror what a healthy person would say, right? Because a healthy person, you often hear healthy people saying that haven't yet realised they're in charge of their own closure. You'll say, I just wish I had some closure. Well, write your own. Empower yourself. Write your own. Don't ever give anybody the power to decide anything. If it's about you and your life, you decide. If someone's been treating you terribly, why do you need them to come back and say, I'm sorry that I did that, but now I'm going to go. I hope you can get on with the rest of your life. What? Not me, I'm bloody kicking you. You get the fuck out. No, that person was toxic. That's the end of that. That's the end of that. Experience and lesson learned. Moving forward, moving on. But no, Diane wants this bloody closure and this apology from Miss Molly. So here we are, they're on panel, all right? So I'm going to play it and butt in every so often like I usually do. Sorry, I'm busy and walking around at the same time doing stuff.
My opinion was she started this whole witch hunt, and she didn't just say that that was the only check she gave. She said this is one of many that she reward fund. And then also the only with this our witch hunt, which went deeply into our real lives, deeply. Yes. Wasn't the only one. She also did it to that cute car person. Who yes. Find out, as a matter of fact, gave quite a bit, and that that was shown on the receipts, which Tiffany's was never shown on the receipts. And then there was people saying, "Oh no, I called Tiffany's bank, and they just said they didn't list all of them," and.
So any second now, Diane is going to pipe up and announce what she wants from all of this, all right? Randy is just going over the latest developments in the community of tragedy pimps, where it's been discovered that somebody that was heavily advocating for the Summer Wells missing child had promised she'd sent $1,500 to the reward fund, and then we came to find out it was a whole lie, it was fake. So Randy's just touching on that.
The thing is she gave no regard on what was going to happen to us. That was right.
Yeah, let me just quickly say, please, in the chat, if people come in here that are supporting Molly, don't block anybody, okay?
This is not personally block them.
If you want to personally block somebody, you can do that, but we're not here to have this is not about anything else other than after
This is not about anything else other than me. Me is the word she wanted to put there. This is not about anything else but me, okay? So she's got people coming in the chat, her people, the people that have decided to stand by her, regardless of her pathological lying, which that is a pathological lie. If you can lie that long about sending money to a hospital, and a children's research hospital at that, like one of the, like, just like one of the cases, worst cases of lying ever, right? So if you can collect money after telling people you're sending it to a children's research cancer hospital, you are pathological. Because think about what it would take out of you to put your head down on your pillow every night and just go to sleep without a fear or worry or like an uncomfortable feeling of what the fuck are you doing, and are you going to get away with it? How long are you going to get away with it? What are you going to do if you're caught? How would that would be a healthy person, okay? Not that they do that in the first place, but a normal person would be worried about all those things. You weren't ever worried, Diane, ever worried. And if nobody would have called you out, you would still be taking that money and you would still have St. Jude up on your channel.
Speaking with Molly, privately, and then her listening to Molly, don't block anybody, okay? This is not
personally block them.
Yeah, if you want to personally block somebody, you can do that. But we're not here to have this is not about anything else other than after speaking with Molly privately, and then her listening to Randy's stream from the other night, she never heard any of this. She didn't know how deep this went. She didn't know.
So first, her and Molly have been speaking behind the scenes. Then Molly hears Randy's stream, right? Where Randy's talking about all the things she went through because of a friend, all right? Because of a friend. Her friend could have stopped that at any time, because those people, like I said earlier, they were pathological, they were boundaryless, ruthless and reckless. It was disgusting, all right? I was not, and don't want to ever be aligned with that. I was not. And in my videos at the time, I was talking about it then, how it seemed from my perspective. So Randi was talking about how affected she was, all right? And then, so apparently this histrionic personality called Molly Golightly hears this stream and is overcome with empathy and decides to contact Diane and what?
That going, when people were going real life, that it was not only affecting me, it was affecting Randy, it was affecting, people in our community being threatened. She didn't know all of this. So the reason also that
she did know, because she was threatening and saying that she was having conversations with Bob in her car, if I remember rightly. And of course, all those videos, this is why I don't like this with bloody narcissistic people, because they just don't do it for the genuine reasons, and then they hide everything that did happen. So you can't ever prove it unless you recorded it at the time. So Molly did know. Yes, Molly did know, because when Kay Smalls was doxing that girl on her channel, right? Molly was there. Molly did know. Okay? Molly, they were all behind trying to find out who you were, all of them. All right? She did know.
I'm going to talk to her is because she never really believed that I was a scammer. And from there, I'm just going to let her...
She never really believed you were a scammer. Right, well, let me count the ways in which Molly went after you and the depths she was prepared to reach in order to get at you, to come for you, to destroy you. And the whole time, are you telling me that she never believed you were a scammer? So Molly's capable of doing that kind of damage to somebody, right? Just because. And that's not fucked up. You still want an apology and some closure off this person. This is how you know, like, narcissists are never authentic, never genuine. This just does my head in. Absolutely does my head in.
But this is not going to be a... Huh?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. So just try to be, kind.
Yeah. What she's trying to say is to her chat, fuck if Molly's fans are coming in and it's pissing you off because you've all spent the last bloody year calling out the tragedy pimps, which they're a part of because if they're Molly's subs, right? Fuck all that. Ignore them, right? And let me do what I want to do. Let me do what I want to do.
All right. So let me read this first threat that we got from Tiffany, because here's Tiffany's problem. She, here's Randy and I are digging into her medical life, which we didn't do. I don't dig into people's life. It was a simple comment that somebody said, just say this to Tiffany, to Randy, and trigger her, and it did, and it went, crazy. So here's what she said to me. Diane's channel, I reported your stream for terroristic threats, and I encourage anyone else who sees these comments completely ignored and left in her stream to do the same also. So she's telling people for the first time to mass privately. She did that again later on to report me for fraud. Well, obviously that nothing happened. I'm here. No fraud was committed, and you're just an asshole. All right. So you have people in this.
Just because, like, nothing, you never got done by anyone or anything, doesn't mean that what you was doing was legitimate, okay? You keep trying to find sneaky ways that normalise what you did or minimise what you did, okay? And that's half of your problem. Because if you'd have come out and just said, I did it, because even your apology stream you took down and it was a pile of bullshit. You couldn't even string two words together because you're glib as fuck unless you've got somebody up on panel. You've no energy about you. You're glib. Glib. Look it up. Anyway, you could have had your apology and closure behind the scenes, but you wanted a public display. So why would you want a public display of somebody that apparently attempted to destroy your life and the whole time never really believed you were a scammer? Does that make any sense whatsoever? Does it?
Promoting physical harm, covering me in pig's blood. What? What they'd like to see happen to me in a dark alley and my eyes being taken out. Get your shit together, Diane. You have many mods. I'll make sure. Same dude. It's a dude, not dudes. Dude sees all of these comments too. Don't you ever call Laura dangerous ever again. It's people like you that promote violence. But it's all for the kids, right? Shame on you. And I dare you to ever reach out to anyone for information on me ever. Really, psycho? You're calling me a psycho when that's what you did. So.
Oh look, she can call people psycho, but I can't call people narcissistic. Clock that. Write it down.
This, and I'm not going to read the rest of it.
Because I am.
Just her, trying to have people report me. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't remember any of this. But I certainly do not believe that anybody was talking about putting her in pig's blood and promoting terroristic threats. I'm pretty sure if that happened, my live stream would have been taken down. But this was only one of the first threats. When she started threatening me with St. Jude, I did contact them and I let them know. Hooked up with, that it's all about
this is all the word salad to justify getting Miss Go Lightly on.
And where I can think that I was going to be interviewing Molly, they actually said, why would you have a real lifer on your panel about real life? I think they misunderstood. But also, I'm thinking that perhaps they thought I was going to even bring your name up tonight, and I wasn't. And so there you go. All right, I'm dropping the link. There you go. There's the link.
Here we go.
I'm trying to check to people sent me a picture and
about to
what did you send a picture of?
Me.
Okay, there she is. Okay. Oh, well, bye. I'm sorry. I forgot that we both can do this. All right. Hi, Mom.
Hey, cam up, Diane. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Hi, Randi. How are you?
What do you mean cam up? I'm wearing my sweater. There she is. Okay. Oh, well, bye. I'm sorry. I forgot that we both can do this. All right. Hi, Mom.
Hey, cam up, Diane. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Hi, Randi. How are you?
What do you mean cam up? I'm wearing my sweater.
I know. Hello, Randi. How are you? I'm okay. Randi, I just wanted to...
Can you tell how awkward this is? All right. So Diane, as with everything Diane does, okay, she'll always put Randi there because Randi has always had this kind of reputation of being more the soft-hearted one. And I'm talking about over there. I'm not talking about my opinion. So she's always had this kind of reputation as being the softer one, the one that tries to keep the peace, the fixer, right? And in my opinion, those traits via Diane are manipulated, okay? She manipulates her because those traits are of profit in some way to Diane. She can benefit from them, okay? So she'll have Randi on side because Randi's good at playing the fixer. So all the shit that Diane creates, or if she creates any shit, Randi's always the one that's like sent out to fix everything, basically, okay?
Let everybody know that I actually reached out.
And you can tell there's an atmosphere. So she's putting her friend through this, is my point.
And spoke with Diane a couple months ago. About 2 months ago.
Oh, so they spoke 2 months ago. That would be 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago. So that would be before they went, while they were driving up all this hate, in the middle of driving up all this hate and disdain towards the Quinton Simon family. So while all that was going on, and we were all focused on that, behind the scenes, Diane is messaging Molly, or Molly is messaging Diane.
Apologize to Diane. So this isn't something that happened 2 days ago.
Right.
And I do want to say that I was absolutely floored when I listened to when I listened to Randi's live from maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
See, Molly's always ill. There's always something. Molly always brings something with her that's histrionic that you will comment on it. Okay, so she's presenting this. Oh, I'm not quite well, and it's all histrionic. It's all to garner empathy and garner sympathy. That's all it's for.
And I got to hear her recant her experience of what had happened over a year ago regarding the whole St. Jude Tiffany thing that happened that I very much was a part of. And I'm not going to deny that I was a part of, but I'm not here to find any excuse for my behavior or be forgiven for my behavior.
See, narcissistic people, they do the fake apology thing, and if you've ever lived with one, or what you've had an ex-partner, or even if you're currently with one, they will give you these apologies, and they don't sound sincere, they don't feel genuine, okay? Maybe they chuck a bunch of flowers at you, or throw you some chocolate, or throw a gift at you, and even though they're doing these nice things, in quotes, something always feels off, and it's because they're mirroring what they've seen apologies look like on TV, or when they've witnessed their friends do it. So they record that in their mind, they take note of it, okay? And then when it comes to the time that they may need that skill set or that action trait, they'll pull it up and mirror it. And I can feel from here that this isn't genuine.
One lesson that I definitely learned was something that I had to learn on my own in the past several months, is that I tried to help a family and was also called a scam artist and was demanded to show receipts. And it brought me back to over a year ago where Adrian was...
It's amazing how all these adults, okay, only learn these things by major screw-ups, all right? The rest of us know not to do shady shit or not to do A, B, and C, okay? But these types of characters, every so often, there'll always be a thing, well, I realise I shouldn't have done that. Or I've learned now what loyalty means. Okay, well, I understand now that doing that doesn't show that I love you, right? So they're always apparently learning these lessons that the rest of healthy humanity learned and know and have known for decades. But it takes them, apparently, to being in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s and 70s, and they're still making these horrific and terrible mistakes, hurting people, right? And they only just come to the realisation they shouldn't have done it this late in life. When the rest of us, right, we've not had to carry out those acts. I haven't had to go and stand outside somebody's house and scream and shout and abuse them to then think, oh, do you know what, I shouldn't have done that. I have something called foresight. Healthy people have foresight, okay? Narcissists do not. Plus, they can't introspect, okay? They don't have the ability to introspect and be able to see, yes, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't do that, or if I do that, it will lead to this, and that's not right. I shouldn't do that. They don't have that ability. So when she's cracking on here that she's looked within and learnt this huge lesson, no, you haven't.
My husband would say about Diane, Diane doesn't have to show receipts. Diane doesn't have to show receipts. It's just going to make it worse. Well, this time around when...
No, it wouldn't make it worse if she showed receipts. It would shut people up, because that's all they ever wanted in the first place. The genuine people that wanted to see the receipts, only the receipts. They didn't want to see Diane be destroyed. They didn't want to see Diane have to leave. We didn't want to see Diane lose her channel. All we wanted to see was the receipts. That was it. Okay? That's all Corey wanted to see, because she was never a part of all that going real life shit either. All right? They took her crusade over. They hijacked it. Okay? They hijacked it.
Me and Justin, which is Justice for All, tried to help a family in Savannah, Georgia.
And, all this is, well, it's fake empathy. It's called cold empathy, as in hot and cold. Cold empathy. This, acting like this isn't genuine.
With their son, this woman was being called a scam artist, and all of a sudden I was donating a lot of money as well, and I was being called a scam artist, and money that I had saving in my own bank account for my son's car. People were saying that I had stolen this money.
Now, all these people in this chat, or the majority of them anyway, or of Diane's people specifically, they also ride with or are like serious subscribers to Savage's channel. who is Savage Live, right? Now, Savage Live has been calling out these tragedy pimps. Molly is the head snake of these tragedy pimps. She's at the top of it, all right? So Savage is going around trying to expose these people for who they are and let people know how dangerous and cruel and sick they are, right? Don't, if you've got a missing kid and you come to the internet because you want to spread this awareness across the internet because it's a way to reach hundreds of people in a minute, don't be convinced or coaxed into going to these guys under the illusion that they're going to help you, because they're not, all right? That's what they do. They pretend they're going to help you, right? Or that they're out to help you. But it turns out they always end up being cruel, abusive, aggressive. They don't have the ability to be objective and critical. It always gets personal and nasty and abusive while they deal with these families. Now, some of these families are clearly dysfunctional. You can tell that there's issues there. Now, for me, when I see that, God, I just feel grief at where do you even start unraveling it to help them get healthy and help them change, and are they even capable of change at this time? Because a lot of dysfunction that I see that seems to come up stems from narcissistic behavior. Well, if you're a healthy person and you have toxic traits and you're occasionally narcissistic, those types of people can correct it. They can edit themselves. They can choose new ways to behave, because I've had to, right? I would walk into a kitchen and slam something down and not think anything of it, right? This is me going back to in my 20s. Whereas now, I know that walking into a room and just slamming something down and making everybody jump and bringing in that kind of an atmosphere and having everybody else suffer the mood that I'm in, because I didn't realise that's what I was doing at the time. So I've been able to identify doing that, right, as really narcissistic, slamming it down and expecting everybody else in the house to be in a bad mood because I am. That is narcissistic. So I don't do those types of things now, right? Or if I did walk into a room in a bad mood, now I have the education and the knowledge to say, take no notice of me, I'm in a bad mood, I just need to sit on my own for a bit. I'm just in such a bad mood, I just need to be away from everyone. I can communicate better. I've learned how to switch up my toxic traits. But if you are toxic, you can't switch up those traits. And a lot of this dysfunction that we're looking at, or that we get to see, it's just heartbreaking, because they've usually got kids. They're in the middle of being raised in this dysfunction, so it's normalized to them. It's completely normal to them. They don't know anything different, because you don't when you're a kid. I didn't know any different when we were being hit or beaten or hit that hard. I fell into the bath, or my little sister was being kicked around the bedroom like she was a fucking football by her dad, right? Which was my first stepdad. That's normalized within your house, right? So it's tragic looking at these families, is my point. It's just heartbreaking, okay? And then they've got a kid going missing, and these tragedy pimps are like vultures. So anyway, Savage and her crew and her channel are on this huge campaign, as are several others, me included. I speak out about it a lot on my community page. I remember being one of the first people to call out the way that Don Wells was being treated was absolutely disgusting, all right? Because it's not about him and how disgusting or whatever he is. It's about us, me, my behaviour, how I'm reacting to that and how I'm treating that, right? It was disgusting. And because they were trying to say, if you support Don Wells, then you're a pedophile supporter, or you're a Don Wells sympathiser. When no, I'm just calling for you to treat people like they're fucking human, like they are a human being and not just a piece of garbage that you can wipe your feet on. It was disgusting. So anyway, these people in this chat frequent Savages, and the frequent Dianes. So there's confusion here. Why the fuck would you have Molly on panel, right? Because we're supposed to be against Molly. Molly's doing all this stuff that we don't like. She wanted her chat like she told them in the beginning, right? Please don't kick the people out of this chat. I want them here. You can just personally block them, right? So your supporters give you all their support, stand up for you, support you, stand by you, stick up for you, defend you, white knight for you, and all the rest of it, right? And they believe that they're doing something good. They're heavily against Molly because of how Molly went after you, right? Now, Molly on her own, away from other people and not vulnerable people, she's entertaining and hilarious, All right. So those people could have, in Diane's chat, could have gone over to Molly's and just been around her for those kinds of moments and those kinds of experiences. But Molly does what she does, so people don't like her, right? Or they don't want to stand by her. They want to call her out. So there's people in that chat that have been doing that, and Diane wants them to swallow down all this awful stuff and put up with it simply because I want closure. It's all about me. Okay?
Donations, which was absolutely absurd. And it brought me back to Diane. So here, my name's being plastered on the internet about being a scam artist with absolutely zero proof. And it sat in my gut about what we did to Diane. So that's what prompted me. And I'm going to repeat it months ago when I talked to Diane and I apologized. So that's where it starts.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you really, didn't believe that I was a scammer. And Tiffany, when I asked you though, like, how did this happen? Like, how did it begin? And you said because Tiffany wanted you to do it, and you had just become friends, like you've become friends with her.
So what is going on here is narcissistic people are impeccable and fantastic at rewriting history. All right. They write history in a way where they come off as the better guy, the wrongly done by, the underdog, the one that everybody was wrong about. They always come off in these revisions of history they produce as the good guy. And that's what she's attempting to do now. Right, Molly, okay. So you didn't, it's all a whole rewriting. The script's all, the real script, that's gone, right? This new script is, Molly didn't really believe you was a scammer, even though she tried to destroy your entire life. And now Tiffany approached Molly, right? Which that's untrue. They were both thick as thieves back then. Thick as thieves. FaceTiming each other all day, and we know that because Molly used to tell us every time she would go live, been FaceTiming Vis and Tiffany all day, we've been FaceTiming, right? So we know all that. Next chapter.
You had a, I don't know, there was falling out with maybe Tiffany and Makeup Monster.
Yeah.
Makeup Monster and Laura. Both.
That was a lot earlier, okay? And that was an entirely separate issue to Corey's issue over in the other corner of the community that simply wanted you to show receipts.
No, actually, it was being in my Patreon again. And then all of a sudden, Tiffany was live one night and said that this poor lady was, by the name of Patricia, I believe, that's going back a while, was the woman on my Patreon. We ended up calling her up. Turns out it was a
Sorry, my daughter got in from college. That was Cleo barking. Right, so let's go back to this.
And that's where it started. And all of a sudden, Tiffany was live one night and said that this poor lady was, by the name of Patricia, I believe, that's going back a while, was the woman on my Patreon. We ended up calling her up. Turns out it was a homeless lady. And that's where it started. So me and Tiffany started to talk.
Do you know what? I don't even know if anybody remembers this part of the story. I have no recollection of anybody called Patricia. I do not remember this part of the story in the lead up to the exposing of the St. Jude scammer, the community scammer, whichever version you want to run with. It's just fucking word salad. I'm just going to skip some of this. But anyway, you can see what's going on. It's just like a rewriting, a whitewashing of everything that went down at the time. It was all justified. I shouldn't have done it, and I'm sorry now, so that makes everything that happened all okay. All those real people's lives you invaded, doxing people, all those calls that were made, all that stuff that was done. Like, it doesn't matter how much I dislike Diane, or even if I dislike Randi, the stuff that went on, some of it, going into real lives, I just don't agree with that. But at the same time, Diane has to take some responsibility, because she could have stopped that train at any time. She could have stopped that train at any time, and instead of stopping it, she put her friends in front of it. Randi and Wendy, that's what she did. She discarded them and put them in front of it and left them to deal with it. All right? Everybody knows that Molly and Tiffany and those types of personalities are reckless and ruthless. They don't keep boundaries.
We were talking, Randi was brought up. She did not like Randi. I think it started mainly because of the health issue. And to clear that up,
the medical stuff that she accused us of going into her real life, which we didn't do that because we don't.
Absolutely not. Actually, there's a picture of Tiffany on the internet with cords connected to her head. And that picture is up there forever because she, even though she denied it and made Randi look like a real lifer liar, Lyerson from Blierville, USA, she actually did have she had a GoFundMe set up that she was asking for money on GoFundMe to have a brain surgery, and she had to explain to me what Chiari was. And she had a GoFundMe of things that were, kind of like, oh my God, she's balls to the wall, a little nuts.
Wait, listen, okay, hold on a second. I think we're getting off track.
Yes,
So
yes, we are.
at the point that you realized that she did not like Randi, because Randi is the one that absolutely did use the word, because somebody told her, just say this word and it's going to trigger her, and it was GoFundMe, and that's where it all started. So at what point, when you getting together with her and you knew that she didn't like Randi,
and there again, right? Healthy human beings, and these are the types of things I used to write under Diane's videos, going way back before it was ever the true crime community, where the true crime community came over, right? Diane was purposely trying to trigger Tiffany, knowing that Tiffany is occasionally a loose cannon, all right? So if you do that to somebody and you know they're a loose cannon and they come for you all guns blazing, then you have to take some responsibility for that. You have to. As healthy human beings, you have to take some self-responsibility. It's like they were going after Mummy Ramblings, right? Calling her a narcissist, saying how toxic she was and how abusive she was, gloating, taunting her, ridiculing her, humiliating her, making her look stupid, right? Do all that in private if you want to do it. But don't do it to someone that you're calling a narcissist, because you're just getting yourself on their radar and they don't stop. And what happened, Randi? You ended up with the police at your door. Like, why does it? Why are we still having this lesson? If somebody's toxic, why do you try and trigger them? Because what they're going to do, they're going to come for you, balls to the wall. All right. So she just said there, say this word to Tiffany if you want to trigger her, GoFundMe, and it will trigger her. So all along the way of this, as much as I have said that those other people were boundaryless, all along the way, Diane continued to fuel it, ridicule them, laugh at them, get her chat to. Well, she already had a chat, completely gaslit and brainwashed to believe in her, right? That she was this good, honest person and these lot were all just lunatic, psycho stalkers and harassers. And then all along the way, they kept escalating it instead of trying to de-escalate it. Like a healthy human being would have said, come on, is there any way we can just have a conversation and sort this out? What is it you want to see? Right, you want to see the receipts. You want to know that I sent the money. Okay, that's fine. I will show the receipts. I don't want anyone thinking that I would take the money. So here, if that's what I have to do to convince you that I'm honest, then here's the receipts. But no, all along the way of this, it kept getting fueled. And things kept escalating because nobody is about de-escalation in that community, in the DC. When they say, oh, we've had some good times. Well, when? Because us lot used to say to you, why don't you just have nice streams and just talk about this, whatever and the other? We don't have to talk about drama. Over the years, we exhausted ourselves telling different creators that same thing, right? But no, they would fire up lives, right? Come hell or high water any time of the day or night to fight with somebody that they claim they hate, but then the people that they claim that they respect and love because they're the subscribers, they won't deliver what the subscribers want, which is just simple, normal streams, like for people to just like have friendly interaction with each other. It always has to be something hostile or some chaos or drama or confusion that's been unravelled. You fueled this. You have to take some responsibility for continuing to fuel it. And the only reason Randi kept going hard for you, Diane, right? So some of Randi's responsibility is shifted. It goes to you because you kept filling her head with crap that you were innocent the whole time. And she felt like these people were attacking you, right? So she continued fighting with them and making this all 100 times worse. And you sat back the whole time knowing you were lying, letting Randi do that.
I used to get the ball started, like ball rolling.
I can't tell you exactly when, because just like I was just saying, for the most part, the whole time that I was friends with her, she did act normal. She did act like she had a nice heart. That's my whole point, is there's a side of her that is very, very, very sweet and likable. There's a side that makes you believe that she's very caring. And I understand why people fell for it. I fell for it. But then there's this other side of her that is shocking. like she almost like she hates the world, and she's gonna get you before you can get her. That's the only thing I learned from her. With the St. Jude thing, I can't. I really wish that I could remember how it started, but I remember saying, "Hey, you know, there's something going on with." I just can't tell you what. Going on with Diane, and I know you two didn't like each other much.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, and she was really she was dedicated to this. She
Oh, I know
was.
she was. She started this in 2020.
Yes.
I read a thread.
She
before this
wanted
came out.
Stellar on her side. She wanted people on her side. When Laura came around, she was happy, and she started collecting people. It got bigger and bigger, which honestly, to me, it made.
She floated over to the portion of the community I was in, right? Where I was a regular commenter under Corey's videos. I thought we had a friendship offline, right? And I noticed her float on over to that section, okay, and start gently love bombing Corey and validating everything she was saying. And that's how she worked her way in. And from my perspective, I always had the suspicion that that's what it was about, okay? Monopolising Corey's issue, which was the receipts, in order to seek her revenge on Diane, all right? Their goal was never authentic, in my opinion. I know what my goal was. I just wanted to see the fucking receipts. That's it. It's just really simple. It doesn't mean an argument. It doesn't even mean drama. I want to see the receipts. Show them. No, right? Well, then I'm going to still keep saying you need to show them. But I'm not going to stir up a whole community to the point of fucking madness.
Made more sense because remember back then you had that. What was that girl? She's not here no more. She had blonde hair. She was always smoking. She was smoking cigarettes. She had blonde hair, and she was always cursing. Drama, big time drama. She had a lot of.
Oh, Katie. I was like, wait a minute, who's she talking about?
Katie was wonderful. Yes.
Oh my God.
She had her saying it, and then.
Yeah, well, because that's what Katie does. I get it.
Okay, so she said, well, this one's been saying it. And then, we had Brian St. John, and then, finding stuff. And honestly, when all that stuff just comes starting out, and then we were looking all over for you, Diane. We were looking all over for you. We couldn't find you. And I think it drove us all a little nuts.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Wait.
Put that back on her. As much of a prick as Diane is, it drove you all nuts. You drove yourself nuts because you guys are nuts. You're boundaryless. All right. The hysteria you lot created, right? It was all fueled off other people's emotional energy, other people's outrage, other people's shock, other people's confusion and hurt. That's the wave you guys rode. And you rolled with it until you couldn't any longer. And then you have the nerve, so you fire up all these people, make all these videos, and then after it, right, they take all the videos down and it's like it never happened. And then the other one moves off into another community, takes all her videos down, and you're just like, what the fuck was it all even for then? So what was it for? Because some of us just wanted to see the receipts. They are right when they say it was just about destruction and destroying Diane, which I don't fucking like you, right? I don't like her. So I'm not defending them, but they did take it to where and all those personality types just jumped on board and they directed all that traffic, and there was a lot of people underneath them, all these different subscribers from various creators, confused, manipulated, gaslit. They were.
I told you when we talked about this that you just Google my name and I come up. I'm the only person that lives in Pennsylvania who had a lawsuit in 2012. So I found it to be a little bit weird, the whole thing. And that's the point. I think that the real life stuff began to be insane. And that's when when you start affecting people's lives and calling up people. And Randy's dog got called over 62 times and she got
never called
to her house. No, but I'm just saying, I think that people don't realize that when people go real life, and this is kind of like a PSA, when you go real life, you don't know who's watching, right? So if you have a person and you're going real life on them in your live stream, or you're dragging them and you're putting out their name in their house and they're this and...
You have doxed Jasmina, all right? Recently. On your community post, I saw it.
That there are crazy people out there who might not even be part of this community, just lurkers, and you don't know.
So you're talking about all these other people crossing boundaries. You cross them. If the right scenario shows up, you'll cross them, all right? You You just want to shift any and all accountability, responsibility, and any blame of anything onto everybody else. Everybody else. Half of what happened was just disgusting. I don't argue with that at all. I don't argue with that at all. But you shift your responsibility and your involvement in it. You shift all of you come out of this in your version of this history chapter. You come out looking like the hero and the victim, as a typical narcissist does. They're always the hero and simultaneously the victim as well. Where is your response? Why do we never hear us say, I went wrong and what I should have done was I should have just shown them, right? Because it's not even that, it doesn't matter who was asking for the receipts. If you're an honest person and you're doing something good, okay, somebody asking you a normal question, can we see the receipts? There shouldn't have been all that. Look what stemmed from that kind of simple question. Now go and ask Gray Hughes, where does all his money go? And do you know what he'll do? He'll pull you up a freaking spreadsheet of various charities, and of which he's sent almost, or is at £100,000 of what he's sent, and he can account for every penny of it. And nowhere does he freak out and tell people to fuck off, right? For asking to see, what, and he likes to tell people about it too, because then obviously encourages people, because they've donated to like DNA testing labs and stuff like that. They've donated to that guy that's famous to you guys over there, the Tennessee Equisearch, those guys, he sends money regularly to them. There's loads of missing and exploited children. I think that's another one. He doesn't have no problem showing a receipt. And no one else he would if they were taking other people's money, right? You want them to know you don't have to worry anywhere. So here's the receipt and here's where I sent it. Look what asking Diane caused, right? How it's not about who asked. Oh, well, it's Corey, so just fuck off. Why do you not want to show your people how much they sent and raised? Anyway, I'm not fucking going over back all that. That still stands, right? A normal, healthy person that was collecting money, that was honest, genuine and truthful, and didn't have anything to hide, you wouldn't have even ever had to ask for the receipts, because they would have presented them before you even had a chance to ask. And that's just the end of it.
If they're dangerous people who might show up at your house or have you swatted, bad things. And that's what I think that we, need to.
And you could have settled all that down. All you needed to say was, hey guys, just stop. I can see this is all going too far. I can see how upset everybody's getting. Instead of being a narcissistic, arrogant person, I'm just going to show you the receipts and back down. But no. It became a grandstanding competition where if they're doing this, I'm doing that. If she's going to do that, then I'm going to fucking do this. Well, if they're doing that, I'm going to do this. And it was like, if they're doing that, then I'm not going to show them. So then you created the perfect excuse to not show them, because the fuckery that was going on allowed you to say, I'm not showing anything to those types of people. Who do they think they are? Okay. And continue gaslighting your audience, your subscribers, that you had sent the money and they didn't deserve to see the receipts, those other people, because who the fuck are they? Right? It completely bypassed every single one of their brains that they should be asking to see the receipts in the first place. That's how conditioned they were. And again, it's a process that has been going on the whole time they go in. They're being conditioned how to think. And the whole time, Diane is filling them with ideas about how important she is, how busy she is, and how honest she is, right? So, okay, this person's honest. We've never even seen her face. We don't know anything about her personal life. Like, you'll never see her leaving an endearing comment or a loving or care. You never see her leaving a loving comment anywhere or saying loving words. She's unable. It's an inability of hers. She can't do it. All her posts and everything, it's just generic and glib. No one noticed. And all you had to do was say, there's the receipts. Get the fuck out. Stop harassing my people and stop bothering them. And you didn't, because you didn't have a receipt. But at the same time, you still had to maintain the idea in your audience's mind that you did have the receipts. And that's what you did. You totally manipulated all those people. And the ones that forgive you, if any of them ever ask, why do people go back to abusers? There's your answer. Well, why did you go back to Diane after knowing that she manipulated you and that she was lying the whole time? Why did you go back? Why did you go back?
To take from this.
Because you're manipulated. That's why.
Nothing to
I
do
know
with
that I know that I'm not a scammer. I know what I sent to, St. Jude. And I am,
All that stuttering and pausing, she can't bring herself to say the name. And it's not because of how St. Jude has been blown up now, so it's like got bloody PTSD attached to it. She can't say it. And it's because there's deception there, if you ask me. In my opinion, it's because
I don't have so much of a problem have you swatted bad things. And that's what I think that we, need to take from this.
Yes, I have nothing to do with
I know that I'm not a scammer.
Listen.
I know what I sent to, St. Jude. And I am, I don't have so much of a problem with that.
I know what I sent to St. Jude when it would just be a normal sentence. I know what I sent to St. Jude.
At this point, as the real life stuff, and then hearing somebody like Tiffany get up there and go, "Oh, real life can be dangerous, and you can push somebody." Well, she didn't care about me, obviously. She didn't care about what it did to my life because she is a real lifer. So here's the thing: I wanted you to come up because you said that you did watch the live stream, and
now we're getting to the nitty gritty. Hang on to your seats.
You came to realize that a lot of people, not just me, Randi, Wendy, my mods, were threatened on a daily basis. That they're every day one docs of my mods.
Never knew that.
Which wasn't okay.
That's why I told you all that stuff.
Hold on, that's not. But it was if you're saying modding in Diane's chat, if you're saying chatting in Diane's chat.
Yes, I was going to get to that.
About, yeah, and doubt you.
I know it was rough back then. I had no part in that. I remember several people were jumping on the bandwagon.
You didn't have no part in it. You were leading it with Tiffany, okay? You were part of the driving force. I wish I could remember for the life of me where you were driving in that car that time and you were pretending you've called Bob or you had called Bob or, not Bob, an ex-partner of Diane's that had told you all this horrendous stuff. That was it. It was in some car somewhere, and that's what you were talking about, that you'd been on the phone, and then you were making it all like a mystery and all mysterious, and you found out all this stuff, this crazy stuff, and we're all going to have the shock of our lives. What do you mean you weren't involved? You were the bloody script writer.
And then it got to a point where it just stopped. And I got to a point where a couple of months after where I took every single video of you down.
Yeah, I know that you did. I know.
Yeah, I took every video down. I definitely had, I will say something which you probably don't know is one thing I remember privately about the whole Randi and Wendy thing is we just weren't sure if they were involved or not. Like no one knew if they knew. No one knew. Like me or her. It could have just been speculation or guess.
Okay, but we're using words again, involved in. There was no involved in anything. There was.
But that was like a question. All I'm saying is,
if you were taking money that people had given and super chatted you, under the illusion you were sending it to somewhere else, it doesn't matter where, okay? And then you were using that money to buy them gifts or send them nice things, then it's an issue, okay? It's an issue. Well, how much that's what people wanted to know. How much did they know? Did they realise that now? That if she's been keeping the money, the stuff she's been sending you, if anything, is likely to have come from that money. I mean, she's not gonna have, what, does she have a wallet? And, well, that's the side of, the left side of my wallet is where the money that I've collected from people that thought it was going to a charity goes. And then this side's my own money that I've earned. So when I buy Randi a gift and send it, which side of the money am I going to use it from? That's not how it goes, okay? So if you were using the money that you got from other people that they thought was going to somewhere else, and you were sending those two gifts all the time because you like to go on about how you like to say, like, giving gifts is my love language. Well, it'd be my fucking love language if I was earning how much you were earning off the backs of other people too. Maybe we'd all have a love language of giving gifts. Okay? So that's why people didn't understand or couldn't comprehend who was involved and who wasn't. Like, how much did they know, or did they realise that now? And people are still suspicious. Me personally, I don't think they had any idea. I think Wendy possibly suspected it from the things that she said, because their relationship had gone cold. Well, it went cold for a reason, okay? And the things she said at the time, from the things that she said, I think possibly she was at the beginning stages then, or somewhere in the middle of unraveling just what kind of a liar and what kind of a person Diane really was. I think that's the point in time that Wendy was in, unraveling it all. And yeah, well, I can't say factually because I don't know. I wasn't there, and I'm not either of them.
It was a question, and the thing is I felt bad. Like, imagine they had nothing to do with it and they didn't know. I think that's terrible if they didn't know. So when I heard this video of
Diane is quite capable of keeping something like that an entire secret from everybody, okay? Narcissistic people have secret lives. They have a public life, they have a private life, they have a life with the family, and they have a secret life, all right? So it is very possible, because you can live with someone and they can be cheating on you for a long time and you not know anything, right? So of course she doesn't live with either of those two. So there's a high possibility that she was doing all that, right? And they had no idea, because these types of people are capable of covering up all sorts and looking like they're not doing anything wrong. And all the time they're a demon.
I honestly was shocked. I was in the airport. I was shocked. I had no idea that you guys were suffering in the way that you guys were. But if that's what it was, you guys definitely had a pretty good poker face to put on, because it seemed like you guys were just like, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care. But that doesn't make it okay either. It doesn't make it okay either. I mean, for me, I don't care, but who's to say that, maybe sometimes.
What's she on about? She doesn't care. You acted like you don't care. Well, I don't care.
I don't have this. That's what it was. You guys definitely had a pretty good poker face to put on, because it seemed like you guys were just like, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care. But that doesn't make it okay either. It doesn't make it okay either.
So it doesn't make it okay, right?
For me, I don't care, but
I don't care.
Who's to say that, maybe sometimes I don't have this, feeling of, in retrospect, that I don't have times where I break down. Well, I can confidently say that.
What the fuck is that sentence? That is sheer word salad. She's trying to put words there together that make her sound like she's a really caring human being. What the fuck was that?
We don't care, we don't care, we don't care. But that doesn't make it okay either. It doesn't make it okay either. I mean, for me, I don't care, but.
Right, I don't care.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
That, maybe sometimes I don't.
Maybe sometime.
Have this, feeling of, in retrospect.
Feeling in retrospect.
That I don't have times where.
That I don't have time to.
Break down. Well, I can.
What? I don't have this feeling in retrospect that I have to break down. What the fuck? Word salad. To confuse you. Confuse you.
I can confidently say that. No,
I can confidently say that.
No, because I've been doing this for so long. But someone who's now coming into this kind of stuff is saying, oh my God, I'm being attacked. And it feels like.
I think she's saying she wouldn't have a breakdown because she's been around this long. I think that is what she's trying to say, actually.
You're being attacked by the entire world. People are watching us. But I think that on behalf of Tiffany, and this is really important that I say this, is I think Tiffany is taking advantage. Because when I said that she seems to me like someone who hates the world and wants to take it on the world, I think that she sees.
So we were talking about how Randi was affected and how many calls they were having to the house, right? Then we drifted on to, well, you put on a good poker face. I didn't think you cared. Something about sometimes in whatever. In retrospect, I would have a breakdown. In retrospect, I wouldn't have a breakdown, or whatever it was she said. And then, in regards to Tiffany, what?
YouTube, the drama. But I think that on behalf of Tiffany,
Tiffany,
and this is really important that I say this,
and it's really important that I say this.
Tiffany is taking advantage. Because when I said that she seems to me like someone who hates the world and wants to take it on the world, I think that she sees YouTube, the drama community, as the devil's playground, and where she can get away with hurting as many people as she wants, where there's no
Molly, that would be total projection, okay? Total projection. And that's probably what attracted you to each other in the first place. Because narcissistic people, or narcissists, or all cluster Bs, will team up. Like my post said, monsters will support another monster's plan. Some monsters will seek to sabotage that plan, while others will rush to cover it up. It doesn't matter what you see that monster doing. The important thing to remember is they are still a monster, okay? So even though you might see Tiffany doing something bad, for example, and then Diane's trying to sabotage it, remember what they are. Don't be fooled that, oh, because it seems like Diane's doing good trying to stop Tiffany, that it is good, okay? It isn't. That was the point of the meme. And you saying all that about Tiffany, this is the devil's playground. This is the cluster B's playground, all right? The cluster B is the devil, in quotes. This is their playground, social media. Dating sites, social media, they dominate it. They dominate it because every community you visit, there's chaos, confusion, and horrendous drama, abuse, and narcissistic behaviour. They're everywhere. And every bloody community is run the same way by the same types of people. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's not an accident. They're all here.
I saw her do it to
All of
John.
them.
I saw her in that comment with Randy's mother taking her hand. I said, why would you go just say anything like that? She goes, I didn't mean it that way. That's what she said to me. I didn't mean it that way. Wait, well, what did you mean? So the other day I see her put up this video and she's like, you guys are expecting way too much. Don't expect an apology. Well, where do we start? What exactly are you talking about? Because
She's trying to misdirect everybody into blaming Tiffany. This isn't an apology or a closure, okay? This is more narcissistic blame shifting. She isn't talking about herself. I was wrong. I did A. I was a cat. I did B. I'm sorry I did B. Then I went and did C. I'm terribly sorry that I did C. I did D, E, F. And I'm terribly sorry. I realise now, in retrospect, that I shouldn't have this and shouldn't have that. And I was going to do that, but I did this instead. And I shouldn't have done that. And I can see about all these things that I did that I shouldn't have done. Okay? I can see where I should be accountable for the things I did. Tiffany wasn't in the car with you when you were saying that you were ringing up an ex of Diane's. All right? And when you were broadcasting that all over the place, trying to embarrass her and humiliate her. What that had to do with bloody receipts, I'll never know. All right? So you're trying to blame shift now. Blame shift, Molly. You're not there to take accountability or to give anybody closure. You're there to come and make amends with Diane because now you're going to be allies because both of you have strong personalities, okay? Personalities that don't take no shit and don't care who's next to step on to get to the top. They'll step on anybody to stay on top. You're not putting all this on Tiffany, okay? You were a willing participant. Willing. And all the other calls that went on in the background that I don't know about or I'm confused about because I'm unsure of the facts. There was other calls too because I've heard Brian mention them and I've heard Science Girl mention them. I just can't remember the finer details. But there was other calls going on. I don't know if it was to Bob's mum, was it? Or was it Diane's mum? It could have been either, it could have been both. Okay? But this isn't all at Tiffany's feet. You're not putting all of this at Tiffany's feet. If you want to be accountable for something, you be accountable for something of what you did or what you feel you helped stir up. But you're just sitting there and telling us all about what you think about Tiffany. It's just word salad crap.
there's so many horrible things that you've done. So you're telling us that everything should be forgiven? And then what? No.
And that's where we are now. Lots of us are confused because so all that happened, right? And this is why a lot of subscribers in Diane's chat are pissed off because they have supported her through hell and they have been put through hell because I don't think it's right to support somebody that would rip off a community and lie to them she was sending money to a charity. I can't understand the ethics and morals, integrity of anybody that would want to be associated with somebody that had done something so sick, okay? But hey ho, if you want to be where you want to be, you want to be where you want to be, right?
And she's like, you guys are expecting way too much. Don't expect an apology. Well, where do we start? What exactly are you talking about? Because there's been so many horrible things that you've done. So you're telling us that everything should be forgiven.
And they're all having to watch you two make up after all that bullshit. This is nothing about, this is just a show. This is all a show. It's all a facade. We're pretending on the surface. This is what it's about. I'll just tell them it's about closure. I need closure because whenever you hear somebody say something like that, and if they're a survivor, for example, or it's in the instance of say like a criminal offence, and you want the person to go to court, and you want you want closure on it, you want to see that person punished. That's a whole different kind of closure in those types of instances. But day to day, breaking up with bloody toxic people or falling out with toxic people, you write your own closure, okay? You don't give anybody else that power. So where are all the talks about, I want to apologise for what I did. I hope you can forgive me. I hope that, because these are we're going to think about what healthy human beings would say if they were trying to help somebody achieve closure and the person receiving the closure. We're not hearing any of that. We're hearing about bloody Tiffany and her latest non-apology video, of which I've got a video coming about, right? But Tiffany's irrelevant. This is about you two. You two. Your involvement and what you did, okay? You two have set this scene up now. Fill the good people, tell them it's about closure and an apology, and they'll fall for it. Well, I was surprised to wake up this morning to see that nobody had fallen for it, and they were all pretty pissed off, and they've all walked away. I was mind blown. I was like, God. So this was the thing that it took to make you see what type of person you're dealing with. Wow, I'm fucking amazed. But you know what? Glad at the same time, because I don't care if I dislike people, even if I hated them. Right? Watching people be manipulated and watching people be manipulated out of emotions and money pisses me off. And I don't care who it's being done to.
And then what? No. And that's the thing. All of her shit talking and all of her trouble. All
What
the
about
trouble.
you?
She'll never apologize or take up, accountability for any of her actions. All the people that she's hurt. Went around. I mean, she has done some really bad things to people. And she's like, you're asking too much for an apology? Who are you that you can't muster an apology? I'm sorry. I know I was wrong.
God only knows how far we are into this live, listening to this, okay? And she still has not got to. I'm here to help you achieve closure. Any kind of sentence that you could say to someone in order for this situation to be about that. I haven't heard any as yet. Why are we talking about Tiffany? Why do you want to paint Tiffany as the bad guy? Why? Why? Because you know better. You know better.
I shouldn't have done that, and it'll never happen again. She can't even do that. She can't even do that. What kind of person is that? It's a person I don't want to be around, but I already knew what kind of asshole she was. The way she dumped me for that Jody stupid.
Oh, you already knew, did you? You already knew.
Woman, she's a low life, and guess what? That shit blew up in her face. You want to know something? That check, Diane. I'm sorry, but that check. She
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I really don't care about Tiffany and her money and what she does with it.
She got no money unless she's talking about summer wells. Period.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Molly. Like I said, she has no obligation to give a dime to that charity. She's not a scammer. I'm going to give her that, even though she's a scammer. Just like I had no obligation to do anything with my money. So. But I think the reason that I wanted you to come up is because I needed for closure.
Absolutely, I get that.
I wanted for people that were also affected. This community was highly affected by it.
When we're dealing with somebody that's toxic, right, and we know that they're pathological liars and we know that they're manipulative, why in the world would you assume or be stupid enough to assume that you're going to get a genuine apology from a person like that? Why would you be so stupid? This is nothing about your side chat or the other people affected getting closure. This is about you and you only, all right? It's about you. You're trying to present the idea, you're helping other people, just like how Jared does, and just like how all these tragedy pimps do. They try to present the idea that I'm about helping you, when no, because if we want to get down to the finer details and really be critical, you're a tragedy pimp too, okay? Because you pimped out that hospital in order to work on people's empathy and drive them to open their wallets, okay? You are a tragedy pimp because you use the tragedy of children with cancer, okay, to get people to hand over their money. That's what you used. You're no better than Tiffany. All right, you're just quieter. You'd be what my mother would call a dark horse. You're one to watch, okay? Because you are very good at your outside appearance. Very good at presenting this perfect image. And that's why you want her on here now, because you want your perfect image restored back to how it was. You want to be seen in the eyes of people the way that you were while they were under your spell and manipulated, which is just sick. It's just sick. You want people back in that state, completely gaslit and manipulated by you. Right? And that's all you're about now. Reinventing yourself, right? And starting back up from where you left off. And these Christmas wish lists, they're just a tool to convince people you actually care. I have never seen any loving, caring or empathic comments or community posts anywhere from you ever. I haven't ever heard you say something. The other day I listened to Randi, so excited to say that she'd hit 2 million views, right? Now if someone said to me, I've hit 2 million views, I'd be like, what? Have you? Wow, congratulations. This is Diane, you can go back and watch it. Oh, have you? Yeah, well, I bet I've done that too. Yeah. No, congratulations, and just left Randi hanging, because you could see that she was like waiting for some like validation or praise or someone to say, wow, you've got 2 million views, right? Nothing from Diane. Vacant. So invalidating. I see it. I don't care. I've always sounded like the crazy one saying that Diane's a narcissist, always. All right? Always. So today will be no different. Okay? No, she's just selfish. No, she's just, she's been an only child. No, you don't know what you're talking about. No. She's narcissistic. And she's abusive, okay? And we see that she's abusive when she loses her shit over the tiniest things, when her ego takes things as a slight and she flips out, right? That's why she flips out when she sees me, okay? Because I am a constant slight. That's why she loses her mind, okay? Because the shit I talk about, okay? Trust me, she stalks my channel and looks at every single thing I write. And I just know she does. You just know. I just know. She knows, because you hear her in some way, shape or form incorporate. And say like when I've said this now, you never see a loving or endearing post. In 2 weeks' time, she'll make a loving and endearing post. Like I've said this about other narcissistic people. Like I've said it about Tiffany. She's not made a public statement, and I made it sound grandiose because in the manner of them, grandiose, right? And she comes out and she said, I'm here to make a public statement or whatever she said. And I'm just like... Narcissistic people just don't get it. They're faking. They're mirroring the whole time. They're mirroring. They don't know what genuine people... They're just trying to act like genuine people the whole time, and they're not. Go and try and be the opposite of who you are for 24 hours to all your friends throughout your whole life. Go and pretend to be someone you're not, right? And you'll make mistakes, and you have to tell a lie to cover it up, whatever. Then you have to tell another lie to cover that one up, and another. And before you know it, right, you're a pathological bloody liar.
People didn't even were afraid to even be seen in my chat. My mods, my supporters, and of course my friends.
This is about you. None of those people, right, to my knowledge, give a fuck about bloody Molly and closure and an apology. Because when you're dealing with a toxic person, you don't seek closure or an apology. You seek a fucking escape. You seek an exit, okay? You seek a path to run the hell down like the wind. You don't want anything from them. So this is bullshit. This is just about you and your master plan of how you're going to rebuild and reinvent, okay? And you're using Molly to do it, okay? Now, Molly, it's not about intelligence IQ. It's about cunning IQ. Molly sees an opportunity here. And for me, I think further down the line, she's going to use this vulnerability of Diane's, right? Of this needing her to rebuild and reinvent. And she's going to turn on her and twist the knife in, all right? Because Molly has never liked Diane. She will get close to her so that she can work on taking her down from the inside out, if you understand what I mean. You have to understand the calculation and the levels of manipulation that these people and the depths and the laws that these people will go to do what they need to do in order to keep surviving another day, all right? And to keep their lives as they need them.
I needed this closure because I wanted it to be known And I wanted you to come up and say that, there was no basis to do it other than, I think, I'm going to say this. I think that you were mad at me.
No allegedly intelligent businesswoman, as you have presented yourself to be, needs closure of somebody, of such a toxic individual. All right? Nobody does. This is not about closure or an apology. Nowhere. And you could have got closure privately. Right? Those people, if they wanted to sort things out with Molly, they could have gone to her privately. Or you could have gone to her in a group, a few of you together. Can we sort out or talk about the goings on that went on with this wish list, because it's left a nasty taste in my mouth. But even that just sounds nuts and mental. Who would do that? Molly doesn't care about those types of things. When have you ever heard Molly have a deep conversation? A seriously deep conversation? When? Or an empathic kind of conversation? When? When?
At the time, because I think I blocked you on Google Hangouts, and I think you were mad.
You did, bitch.
Okay, so and I think that possibly that's why you jumped in on this. And if that's the case, that's fine. But the point is that I did ask you, would you apologize in public? And at first I don't think that you would have agreed to that.
Diane, it means more to you getting this apology in public, right? So after everything that Molly's done to all these families, okay? Quinton Simon's family, Summer Wellesley's family, the Cash Gernan family, and I know I'm going to miss one, the Ruseks, Michelle Schumann, Melanie, is it Melanie or Michelle? Melanie Schumann, right? So all those people she has discounted and invalidated and absolutely abused from one side of their counties to the other, right? Embarrassed them publicly. There's stuff on the internet that's going to be there for life. Gabby Petito, that was another one, right? All that. So you've witnessed this woman tragedy pimping halfway around America, and you think that she's going to come to this conversation with any authenticity of any kind, with any integrity. Somebody that can do all those things, right? So inhumanely to other people, so cruelly, you think that she can come to this table where you're sat and give you something that's genuine. You really believe that? Because if you do, right, you're delusional. Which I know you don't believe that. This is all a game. This is just a step in place of you getting to where you want your final step to be, where you want your position to be around here. That's all this is for. It's a stepping stone into reaching that. And it's backfired because you underestimated this time the pull you have over those people. You underestimated it. Which narcissists do, because all people at some point walk away from the narcissist. When they've had enough, they discard the narcissist. Not the narcissist doing the discarding. It's them that do the discarding. Often they end up being the one to do the final discard. All right. And then it fucking drives the narcissist insane. And that's when they're at their most dangerous and violent. All right. And you, I can imagine, are seething behind the scenes, absolutely seething, that this has backfired. And it'll be Randi, I've no doubt, at some point, getting it in the ear, right, over the state of how things are now, that you've caused and you've created. It's all by your creation, this. All right, God, this is the world that you created for yourself. You've fucked those people over now for the second time publicly, shown them in that chat that they matter less to you, their feelings matter less to you, right, than having Molly on your platform. They come less to that. After everything Molly's done, you put a person like that before your loyal subscribers. Now do you understand what you did? You fucked up, okay? You fucked up. Your plan backfired, and good. Good. Fucking good. Because no people anywhere should be treated the way that you've been treating yours. You just deserted them. You won't be honest with them. You won't be genuine, right? You can't even just do something to put their minds at rest. Absolutely nothing. It's your way or the highway every single time. You're not selfish. They mistake your narcissism for selfishness. It isn't selfish. Or if it is, it's pathological selfishness, okay? I, me, I need closure. I need closure. Everybody was advising you this was a bad idea, but the narcissist knows best. Fuck you and you fuck what you're about. Fuck your advice. Fuck it. I'm going to do what I want. And you did what you want and you fucked up. All right? All right? Just don't forget to change your bloody avatar's jumpers this week, because I'll be checking.
Until you heard, the repercussions of what happened and the hurt and all that. So I wanted you.
Molly is leaving repercussions all around the globe, or should I say all around America. The families, wherever she travels, there's just like dead bodies and fucking skeletons and destruction left in her wake. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? A person like that is going to come in, has the capability to give you closure. Well, do you know something? If you would accept closure from a person like that in the first place, you're fucked in the head. Absolutely fucked in the head.
Because I wanted to have an apology publicly, and you said that you would do that.
I needed to have an apology. You think someone that goes that far into your real life has any kind of bloody empathy for you in any way, shape or form? You think somebody that goes that far into your real life the way she did, right? Do you think she that has zero boundaries, you think underneath all that there's a layer of empathy, really? Really? All of us, oh, well, she couldn't find the empathy when she was destroyed, like trying to take you down, when she was calling people, when she was coming for you, when she was doing everything she could to embarrass you, encouraging people to reach in your life, to find you, to track you down. Underneath all of that, apparently, we are to believe there's empathy. Really? Really?
And the same to Randi and to Wendy and to, the other people.
Randi and Wendy don't give a fuck. You set this up. And according to Wendy, right, you wanted her on panel. You wanted her on panel, and good for her for not fucking kowtowing, all right? Bloody Randi, though, needs to get some fucking backbone, right? And put you in your fucking place. Stop being a puppet to a fucking narcissist.
That were affected. So.
Fucking running around everywhere doing her bidding. She is not a good person. That image you believe she is, you are completely under the spell of sheer manipulation and gaslighting. All right, and you know it, because I guarantee you now, you've had to tell lies to cover for her. You've had to overlook things. There'll have been red flags. There'll have been toxic behaviours. She'll have been cruel. She'll have ghosted you. She'll have done all those things, because that's what those personality types do. She'll have given you the silent treatment, stonewalled you, been verbally abusive, been mean, been cruel, been critical, been invalidating. I'm telling you now, I know she has done all those things to you, Randi. All right, it's about time you wake up.
Again, I don't really care about Tiffany. I feel sorry for her. I really do. I do. I feel sorry.
You don't feel sorry for Tiffany at all. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. All right? No, you don't.
Because I feel like
you're saying that so she doesn't believe start back up and get and have you on her radar. That's what this is.
She is a
piece of shit.
a lost soul, and I really don't have to.
Here we go. Right, with the slights that are disguised, that she's trying to present as though she's got empathy. No, I really feel for Tiffany. I think she's a lost soul. What? Why is it all these narcissistic people have some like legend or myth that they like make real? They bring it into some kind of realization as though it's actually real. She's a lost soul, right? It's what? What do you mean? So running around and being abusive and doing everything she does and lying to people pathologically, by the way, for a whole entire year about some bloody check, right? Having the nerve to say to people that expecting honesty is an expectation too much. That's a lost soul in your mind, is it? That's what you call a lost soul?
Spend my time going after her. She has enough people she has some people that do support her and don't care that she lied, but she does have people that, that are on her ass.
You can't talk about Tiffany in that way because, Tiffany has some people that don't care that she lied, just like you. You had people that didn't care you lied too, all right? That were prepared to overlook it, all right? So you and Tiffany, for right now, are two peas in a pod.
Guy, and as far as AB, here's what I think about him. The same way that I think Randi feels, and other people feel. That
you lot have all hidden secrets and kept them hidden from the rest of the community. The gaslighting that went on over that Suboxone, right, was absolutely fucking despicable. This whole entire community, we'll do a little refresh here and a little recap. That whole entire community was fighting with each other, right, destroying each other, and like I'm not in pirates chats or anything like that, but when you see what you actually did to that girl and the fucking lying that went on about her sister, do you know what? All of that was fucking psychopathic, right? And I'm glad that B went on that thing and made a full apology, what sounded like to me a genuine apology. Yeah, it took too long. It took too long, to be honest, but she went up there, right, and she took the fucking bullet, and rightly so, because the whole entire gaslighting, right, you even had me, I used to be in Pirates chats, and you even had me at some point convinced that this whole thing was a lie from that side. I could not differentiate truth from falsehood. That's how hardcore your gaslighting was about that fucking Suboxone. So don't you fucking start on about people lying and hiding stuff and when they decide to come out with the fucking truth. Because you lot did it to the whole entire community for over a year. What was it? Was it getting on for 3 years? And the whole time, not once the whole time when Pirate was over there piping on and going on about her fucking sister, not once did any of you, right, tell people the truth. And there was people going up, there was people that fucking hated Pirate, right, all because of that fucking lie. So don't you talk to us about what AB did and how long he covered it up, all right?
If he knew about this months and months ago and he only brought it out because they had a falling out.
Know about what, Diane? The chat. The chat.
Yeah.
That's it. See, that's a huge part of this, that we can't just overlook that. You know that, right? And I know you're trying to...
We can't just overlook that. Can you believe the nerve of these lot? Can you believe it?
And this is your channel. I know you're trying to tiptoe around it, but that check is a really big deal.
I know it might be to other
You
people.
don't have to say it. Let me say it. She's a piece of shit for what she did with that check. And yeah, I believe the same thing. If he knew about it, if he's just finding out that the check was a fake check now and he's going after her, yeah, that's one thing. That's great. But if he knew the whole time, no.
You lot have known stuff about each other and with various people, and you have kept it hidden, and then it's come out, okay? All right? So do not start with that bullshit. Do not. And I notice Randi's quiet, and rightly so, because she can't say shit about that, because her favourite line is, I would lie for a friend, and that's all right. Okay?
That's not okay.
Well, that's what I just said. That's my opinion on him. That was Randy's opinion. That, you know, if he...
You two tell lies for each other, right? So how is AB any worse than either of you? How is he? How is he?
knew about it 5 months ago or whenever, when they were still in good standing, and he didn't say anything then. And then he's just doing it to be vindictive now because they had a parting of the ways. That's, I think that's dirty on his part. I had no intention of, going over and calling into a show and being, I was being sarcastic and funny, because he said he wanted victims.
If you'd have had the right encouragement, you would have done it. You were dying to. You threw that out there to see how it would hit, and it didn't get any weight. Okay, and that's the only reason you're not going to ring in. If you'd have had people in your chat cheering you on, you would have rang in Diane, I have no doubt.
Of her, and and she's been in the drama community for a gazillion years. So again, I personally don't have to rent space in my head for her to worry about her check. I don't care what she does. I don't think that she's a good person based on what she did to me, and that's all I need to know about her.
Move on. Yep.
The rest I don't care about, and she'll never apologize to me.
No, she won't apologize to anyone.
So. And I just want everybody to know I did not force Marissa to come up here and to apologize to me. I did not buy her a Jaguar or anything like that. Hi, Wendy. That's a joke because people say that I have people on my payroll and I buy them cars.
That she's so glib and socially bloody awkward. She just like well, I say that it's a joke because of A, B, and C. Diane, we know.
I pay for Randy's floor and all that kinds of crazy shit. Yeah. So I did not pay Molly to come up here. And
actually, I offered to buy toys for your wish list.
Oh, here we go. Right. So this is just hilarious now. So we've got two narcissistic individuals who don't do anything unless it's for self-gain. Oh, come towards me, vulnerable people, and let me buy your kids presents. No, do not. All right. We have the instance of PMM, Potty Mouth Mama, right? And the instance with her gift when Molly knew who she'd bought those gifts for. She went rag on that girl and absolutely embarrassed and humiliated and just abused the ever-loving shit out of that girl. All right. And then you've got Diane with what she did to me and the bag. Okay. Do we need to go into all that again? All right. Do we? You had Randi up on a panel, on Jenna's panel, threatening to read my email out. The word bloody like a moron opened my heart and told bloody TNT all this stuff like, thank you so much for what you did. I've got this going on and that going on, and this is the situation, and it was never just put on there for something to be bloody. She's a bloody teenager, about to be 16 or old. Like, She just wants to be like a friend. So that's exactly how it was, okay? So now you guys want to help vulnerable people at Christmas. Wherever there are vulnerable people, what do I keep telling you all on my channel? Wherever there are vulnerable people, that's where the predators are. And the predators are there because they know the good people will come. And the good people will come with their money. And within that, they can pretend to help the vulnerable people while ripping off the good people. Okay? That's it. It's as simple as that.
Christmas wish list.
And that, and of course, people in here that also would like to help. We have, this is the third year that we're doing it, and it's a good thing.
Hey, Diane, will you put this on subscribe?
Oh, yes, I will. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't even.
I just do 5 minutes and it's not well. I'm probably getting everybody heads up, but
I was asleep and I just woke up to this, okay? So I never saw this live, so I didn't see all the people that were going in or what was being said.
5 minutes and it usually handles it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to do.
But you know what? This video is almost 2 hours long. I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I've made my point. This closure and apology was just, I don't want to keep using the BS word. I need to find a new word. I'm not saying right as much anymore, but now I keep saying bullshit the whole time. This whole thing was a farce, an absolute farce. It was done only for image reasons, for self-gain, and nowhere in any of that. If you go back and listen to word to word to what Marissa actually said, there's no self-accountability. There's no, I don't know, like when you throw yourself out there and put yourself at somebody else's mercy because you've done something really bad and it's up to them how whether the relationship or the friendship carries on. Like, you can decide, I'm so sorry, like, I realise what I did. There's none of that. There's just a bunch of word salad, okay? And two very narcissistic individuals, in my opinion, because I'm not a doctor, and according to Diane, not an expert on narcissism, because apparently you need a degree in it. Well, I have a degree in it, okay? You know how? Because I fucking lived with it my entire life, from being a tiny baby until I was 38 years old. That's the only qualification you can get in narcissism these days, unless in the future they decide to do a course specifically for that, all right? And when we've got psychologists in my community that have married one narcissist and then they've got a divorce and then they've married a second narcissist and then they've realised that their mum's a narcissist, and then you've got psychiatrists that have done the same thing, married narcissists or other cluster B personalities. What could be wrong with the training these people get when they're doing their degrees in psychology and psychiatry? How do you get a psychiatrist married to a narcissist? How does that work? How does that work? Okay, my experience and my knowledge, right, came from the University of Home Life, being raised by a narcissist and being a recipient of generational trauma, abuse, generational dysfunction. It's widespread throughout my entire family. That's my degree, and that's the only qualification I need to be able to talk about my experiences, put stuff together, research, and try and help educate other people so they don't have to experience the bullshit I have in my life, okay? So shut the fuck up telling me I'm a fake expert on narcissism. Sorry about that, I just had to say that bit, all right? And she knows why, because she keeps fucking referencing me while she's having an abuser on her panel that abuses women, and that has told me in my Instagram to trust my knowledge when I asked him if that's what he was doing, right? Presenting all these women on Instagram. Sorry, I'm running away with myself now on a tangent. So he's posting all these images of perfect love scenes and writing cryptic quotes underneath. What's she going to get next? Well, we know the cycle is love bomb, devalue, discard, hoover. All right, so he's playing games. So I asked him, have you found a new way to get fuel, HG? Is this what you're doing? Showing us how you're treating your girlfriend, right? Getting us to buy into it and support you like you're some kind of fucking hero, and the whole time you're abusing this woman. Trust your knowledge, Sonia, he said. Trust your knowledge. So yeah, that is what the fuck he's doing. He's a real life present abuser, okay? And when he tells you I'm a narcissist, you should know that instinctively. You should know that just by that word, because what do you think one is? They're pathologically abusive. They can't be kind to a cat. They can't be kind to a baby. They're not gender specific or bloody human specific. You put a dog around a narcissist or a baby around a narcissist, or even a woman or a man, they will abuse all of them. You dense bitch, okay? Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Anyway, if you did make it this far, I appreciate you so much. Sorry it went on this long, okay? Maybe you can just listen to it like a podcast, listening to me just rambling on all the way over here in the UK. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share your comments below. You don't have to agree with me. I mentioned it again before, be a cult of one, be critical, be objective. You don't have to agree with my opinion on this whole entire situation. Feel free to have your own. I don't care if you like any of these characters. If you don't, you are free to express yourself in the comment section. Just don't be hateful. Wrap this up, okay? I'll see you in the next one. Love lots and bye for now.